So last week, I did a thing. I bought an e-bike. Over the last several months while riding my electric scooter around town, I've seen a ton of people riding e-bikes all over the place. And so over the last several weeks, I've been doing a ton of research on e-bike manufacturers. I looked at Event and Haybike, Lectric, and ultimately settled on one. And that's the Lectric XP 3.0 Long Range Edition. So get this, the manufacturer of this bike, Lectric, is actually based in Phoenix, Arizona, just a stone's throw away from where I am. The XP 3.0 has a top speed of 28 miles an hour, and allegedly, it'll go 65 miles on a single charge. And of course, in future videos, I'll be doing thorough testing of this e-bike. But in the meantime, enough of boring you with this face, let's jump into the unboxing and see what this bike is all about. All right, let's get this box open. Definitely did a good job getting this box closed. These staples are intense. All right, this is what the inside of the box looks like. To be honest with you, I'm surprised they got this whole thing stuffed in a box this size. You know, I bought a scooter a couple months back, and I think the box for that was even bigger than this. So that tells you how small these foldable bikes get. All right, there she is. As you can see, really good job at packing this. You got foam, cardboard, zip ties, all holding this together for shipping. And overall, just at a high level, looks really, really good. I don't see any kind of damage, but we will get this foam and cardboard and bubble wrap off of here and take a look. So the first thing we need to do is extend the handlebar stem and lock it into place. I'm going to go ahead and move this over a little bit so that we can get this all in the frame. And what I'm going to do is open this up a little bit, get our handlebar so that we can go ahead and get this attached. And it looks like the handlebar goes in one way. That's like that. And this is actually height adjustable, so that's really nice for riders of different heights. And we just lock that into place. And then we can swing this around. There's a locking mechanism here. And we simply lock that in place. Kick back the kickstand. And there we go. That is our bike. Super simple to assemble. We'll get this seat turned around and locked into place. And there it is. All right, so I decided to bring the bike outside because the lighting is much better. This is the Lectric XP 3.0 Long Range in its fully assembled form. I'll give you a quick tour of the bike. So here on the left-hand side, you've got your hydraulic brake levers. What's really nice about this bike is it originally came out with mechanical brakes, but based off of some feedback, it looks like the company has switched them over to hydraulic brakes, which is super awesome at this price point. Here you've got a 3-button control panel, which controls that LCD screen and the functions within that. The LCD does have a really bright screen, so that's not a problem driving around at night or the day. And you also have the ability to play with the brightness settings on there. As we work our way to the right, we've got our Shimano 7-speed shifter, as well as a half throttle here built into the handlebar, and then of course the brake lever on the right. Now, as we work our way down, there is the folding mechanism for the handlebar stem. You've got all of your wiring, and you know, I'm usually a pretty big stickler for wiring and hiding wires, but at this price point, this is perfectly fine, and this has got an IP65 water resistance rating, so that's pretty awesome. Another thing to note on the Lectric XP 3.0 is it does come with a front suspension fork, which is really nice for riding on bumpy, uneven terrain. If you want to go off-road a little bit, you'll have that dampening power built into it. It does not have any rear shocks, but what I found is that a lot of people will buy buy a suspension post for the seat. So far it's been pretty comfortable, but only time will tell. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll end up being a buyer of one of those suspension posts, who knows. Something else to note about the suspension is you do have the ability to lock the travel. So right now it's fully unlocked. You move it over to the left and it is locked as if dampening doesn't exist. So if you like that, great. The option is there. I will absolutely leave this on dampening mode. Here in the front you also have the ability to mount some additional accessories, so that's there for you if you need it. Here we've got a headlight, which I've tested it out a little bit. It is not super bright, but I do have another one coming in the mail. You do have integrated fenders, and then of course these are our 3-inch wide tires. There's our brake rotor and calipers, and as we work our way down the bike, within this is actually the 14 amp hour battery, which on this long range version in ideal conditions is good for 65 miles of range. I'll come around here. You've got another locking mechanism here, so you can lock and unlock that to fold this bike for super easy portability. Work our way back over here. There's the seat, integrated seat. So far it's decently comfortable, but I'm probably going to swap it out for a Cloud 9 seat. There is the adjustment for the seat height, which I should also mention the handlebars are also fully height adjustable. Coming back down here, I put this bag on. It does not come with the bike. I'm sure there are packages that do, but I bought this one here so I can carry all my gear out here and film this. And then of course we've got our rear hub motor, which is 500 watts and I believe somewhere around 1,000 peak watts. And then of course we've got our brakes back here, kickstand, and all that fun stuff. This rack, by the way, does support up to 150 pounds. That's really nice. It's actually welded onto the frame. And another thing I want to show you is it does have an integrated tail light, which is of course powered, not just a reflector. I don't believe it's a brake light, so if you hit the brakes, I don't think it's going to get any brighter. Maybe in a future update of this bike we'll see that, but I haven't seen that so far. The pedals on this bike are foldable, so you simply push them in and fold them up and you're good to go. You can do that on both sides. Simply extend out to lock those into place. And another interesting thing about this bike is that it requires a key to operate. So when you turn this on, it powers on the bike. When you turn it again, you can pull this out. Now, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a bolt here. And when you turn it all the way, when you unfold the bike, that actually gives you the ability to pull out the battery. Now, the battery on this bike is 14 amp hours, good for 65 miles. If I were to buy a replacement battery, it's like $500. So I would absolutely want this locked into the bike. I don't want somebody popping that out and running away with it. That would not make for a good day. So you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that key's in an awkward position upside down. Isn't that going to fall out? Well, good news is once it's turned on, it's in a locked position. So if you're riding around on bumpy roads or anything like that, this is not going to pop out and leave you stranded without a key. All right, taking a closer look at the LCD screen here. At the top, you will see the energy bar, which is a rough estimate of the remaining battery that you have left. You've got your speedometer by default in miles per hour. You do have pass, which is your pedal assist levels. It goes from 0, which is off, all the way up through 5, and the higher the value, the more pedal assist you're going to get. So if you want to hit those higher speeds, you'll want to be in a higher pedal assist level. You've also got your odometer, and if you click on the power button on the control panel, it'll tell you about all of your trips and voltage and current and all that fun stuff. One thing I will say is out of the box, as you can see, this is a class, I don't know if you can see that or not, this is a class 2 e-bike with a top speed of 20 miles per hour. In this menu system, you can actually unlock class 3 mode, which will take you up to 28 miles an hour, so that's super nice. Now, if you are curious how this bike rests on the ground when you fold up the bike, it's actually got a built-in stand so that when you do fold it up, you can rest it on something, so that's really nice to have. Now, one thing I want to tell you is when I got this bike out of the box, it actually had a flat rear tire, which was really unfortunate. Now, this one here looks a little flat. I'm not too sure about that. Definitely looks different than this one. Nice and plump, pretty flat looking, so I hope it's not a flat, but if it is, Looks like I'll be changing out a tube. That's one thing I was concerned about with these bikes with tube tires, was how simple or not it would be to get the tire tube swapped out, and it was actually surprisingly simple. I'll come over here on the other side of the bike. All I had to do, as you can see, there is a motor cable here. You just disconnect that, pop off these zip ties 1, 2, and 3, and then there's these screws on both sides you take out, as well as this bolt, and this tire pops right out, no problem at all whatsoever. And then you just pop that tire off, pull the tube out, replace the tube, put the tire back on, inflate, and you are good to go. Now, I do have an electric scooter, a Segway 9bot Max G2, that has tubeless self-healing tires, so I haven't had to worry about changing tires, but I have heard that scooter tires are a pretty big pain to go through swapping out, and so super excited that it was really easy to swap out the tube on this particular bike. Unfortunately, I had to do that on day one, but my biggest fear I conquered on day one by having to swap out that tire, so no issues at all whatsoever. All right, I hope this unboxing and overview of the Lectric XP 3.0 long-range e-bike was useful for you. I will be doing an in-depth ride-along where I go over how the bike rides, some of the more detailed features, so stay tuned. I'll be posting that soon. And as always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.